if a romantic dinner with hearts and flowers isn't in the cards this Valentine's Day, Boston Free Radio producer Dan Burke has some recommendations for offbeat films that celebrate the imperfection of romance.
Valentine's Day is probably, arguably, one of the most polarizing holidays that we have. People either really love it or really hate it, and you don't hear a lot about people in the middle of the road. In terms of movies, if people really hate Valentine's Day, they usually go see a slasher flick. If they love it, it's usually a romantic comedy, or even sometimes, if guys' girlfriends are really insistent, a romantic drama. So I decided to put together this list of movies that are appropriate for Valentine's Day for people who are more in the middle of the road, and who are probably single for that matter. Any single person who feels like they're missing out on something on Valentine's Day will probably get a lot out of watching the movie Marty. Marty is a movie that's over 60 years old and may feel a little dated, especially because it's black and white. And it's a movie about a guy who's 34 years old, still lives with his mother, and is very, very unlucky when it comes to romance. But in typical romantic comedy fashion, his luck turns one night.
What are you doing New Year's Eve?
Nothing.
There's something very refreshing about how uncliche it really is. And Ernest Borgnine's performance as Marty is still endearing after all these years. If you've ever broken up with someone, or if you've broken up with someone recently, one of the movies to watch is Her. It's a movie that when you see it, it feels very cathartic to view someone who's just been through a divorce, like the character that Joaquin Phoenix plays in the movie. From there, Phoenix's character gets involved in a bizarre but poignant relationship with his operating system, who's voiced by Scarlett Johansson.
Good morning, Theodore.
Good morning.
You have a meeting in 5 minutes. You want to try getting out of bed? Get up!
You're too funny.
But the movie Her doesn't just delve into the twisted psychology of a human being having a relationship with what is essentially artificial intelligence. It also tells a more human side of love and relationships. Eventually, Her will be less science fiction and more psychology. That'll be kind of strange, but it certainly makes for a great movie. So when I was first coming up with this list and movies to choose for it, I had a lot of animated movies in mind. But for this show, since it's only such a limited time, I decided to choose one animated movie. And I could have gone with a conventional one like Shrek or several other Disney films. I think The Hunchback of Notre Dame comes to mind. But the one I chose instead was one you may not have seen. It's called Howls Moving Castle. This one is an anime movie directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and it's one of his better ones. In fact, I don't think he's ever had a bad one. The central character is a girl who, there's nothing really wrong with her, but she just has very low self-esteem and is very introverted. A spell is cast on her by a witch that turns her from a young girl into an old lady.
That's really me, isn't it?
And the spell puts her at a distinct disadvantage when it comes to earning the affections of a magical prince.
That is ancient sorcery. Quite powerful, too.
If you see Howl's Moving Castle, not only will you be enthralled and entertained, but you also might learn a little something about yourself. One of my favorite Shakespearean romances, which might appeal to people, single people in the middle of the road, is A Midsummer Night's Dream. There have been many film adaptations of this play, but the one I probably like the best is the 1999 version starring a lot of American actors such as Kevin Kline, Stanley Tucci, Michelle Pfeiffer. What makes this one special is the great acting by the people who are actually involved in romances, like Callista Flockhart, Christian Bale, Dominic West, and Anna Friel. These are very good-looking people who you wouldn't expect to play people who lack self-confidence, but they do it very well, and with a certain amount of vulnerability to which many single people who are unlucky in love can relate. I know I certainly could. So if you find yourself without a date or with nothing to do on Valentine's Day, definitely grab some chocolate and catch one of these movies. I recommend it.
Dan hosts Words on Film at bostonfreeradio.com every Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m.